Hello, and welcome back. Wow, it feels so normal to be at the mic. I'm Lee, and this is Kevin, our incredible artist, and we work together to build the vast, mysterious, and primordial world of Therenor. I know what you're thinking. Wow, this is really different. And you'd be right, because how often do I use this background? I'm usually always in Ilderheim, and that's a great segue into the topic of this video. We had you all vote on a poll on what you wanted to see in the next video, and we have the results. So, naturally, we went with the most popular vote, which we're sure is a very good business choice, and it won't bring down our views at all. But anyway, before we start, I have to acknowledge the incredible art that Kevin has put together for this video. Like he always does, his vision has really brought Therenor to life, and without him as the writer and the world builder, I don't know what I would do. I'd be completely lost. So without further delay, let's get into it. In this video, we are going back to Nalen, also known as the Needle Sands of Eastern Therenor. We know this place to be unforgiving and brutal, a desert that burns so hot and known for its iron-rich sand and its sandstorms that pierce like needles. Most do not dare to venture through this challenging terrain. But who does, and why? We're going to be focusing on some of the unique groups that call the Nalen their home. Each of these groups has their own way, maybe a little questionable, of navigating the challenges of living in a landscape like this one. The first group I'd like to cover is the wayward fire giant vagrants from a little town called Skrotkaph. Not every fire giant is lucky enough to make it to Ilderheim. This is by design. The fire giants who do make it have learned the skills of cooperation, integrity, and they're able to participate in a society that relies so heavily on community to thrive. These behaviors are not natural to these lizard-like giants. They are taught through necessity, as clutches of fire giant hatchlings try to make their way through the desert to the oasis city. Naturally, some fire giants just don't make the cut. Maybe they're too selfish, dishonest, maybe they chew with their mouth open, maybe all of their clutch mates died before they could make enough progress through the dunes. If they don't succumb to the desert, maybe they end up in a place like Skrotkaph. This settlement, which is a generous word here, is made out of haphazardly arranged metal scrap and adobe. It features a large metal pillar right in the center of town. Trinkets and bits and bobs catch the sun and reflect on the shoddy pathways. Vendors sell scrap, pelts, food, anything to make a little coin. The occasional fight breaks out by the water distributor. There's a guy called Imyoten Joe the pillar that the town calls the pile is central to how Skrotkaph keeps order. Break the rules, kill somebody, steal someone's scavenged rations, tell a really bad joke like I just did, and you're getting thrown in the shadow of the pile to spend your day, week, maybe even a month in a cold-induced daze. Skrotkaph is full of grizzled, unpredictable characters that stay together mostly because they don't have much of a choice. However, they all seem to at least somewhat respect the ruling of the fire giant that never sleeps, Sud. His jet black scales help him to retain the desert heat in most conditions, which, by happenstance, renders him pretty much unpunishable. Sud has never in his life made it to Ilderheim, which you can tell just from his name. He never got his oasis title that fire giants get when they make it to the city. He's been so disenfranchised by this idea of Ilderheim where fire giants go and sing Kumbaya that he doesn't even believe it exists anymore. He fiercely believes that Skrotkaph lets fire giants be free to be their instinctual selves. Sud is a fire giant wholly unlike his Ilderheim residing counterparts. Quick-tempered, rough around the edges, boisterous one moment and enraged in the next. Not unlike his kind, he is a fire giant cloaked in mystery. There might not be a soul alive that has heard from his mouth how he got to Skrotkaph. He has heard the whispers of the city of Ilderheim, and he rejects it fully. Nothing more than a hatchling's tail to be clung to during challenging times. But somewhere deep in the oasis, there may be a few fire giant individuals with a distant memory of the scrappy, onyx-scaled hatchling that they shamefully left behind. Residents of Skrotkaph come and go, venturing out into the dunes to find resources and food or to trade with caravans. If an adventuring party were to wander in here, they would probably see a number of different people. Fire giants, of course, but Skrotkaph is sometimes quickly visited by small folk vagabonds, the occasional sand elf. Even a Vanderpee might venture far enough from the Titan trees to find some rare trading items, though they never stay for long. If you're paying attention, you might be wondering, if their only way of punishing people is throwing them in a shadow, how does that work for the small folk? It doesn't, so they probably just eat them. To introduce the second group, we have to talk about the southern Nalen, which is a little more accessible to the more average person. And we have to talk about its history. Therenor's fire giants have been journeying to Ilderheim for thousands of years. But even still, there was a time before the Oasis City existed. Remnants of iron temples and historic fire giant shelters, monuments, and artifacts sit right below the dunes, uncovered one moment and buried the next. These are sometimes commandeered by other creatures trying to get by in the region, including the dune goblins. Somewhere, buried in the deep red sands right outside of view, is the Tear of Ignelyn, a glass temple that recently stood tall in the southern Nalen. This temple was for all to show worship to the spirit of the dunes before venturing into the unknown. The Nalen was also home to the Aoife trees, curious flora with a rich red and purple grain and an unmistakable peppery and sweet fermented aroma. Never mind. When this tree was found to be boasting the colors of Sardonis, Therenor's trade capital, it was harvested en masse, of course, and delivered to the Sardonian Duke to be processed into furniture and whatnot. What was unknown by the small folk was the rich root network under the dunes, shriveling in death and creating sinkholes under established structures. Thus, the Tear of Ignelyn that was so dear to the small folk and to the Sardonian monarchy had plunged into the sand only 10 years ago. Since then, this lost site of worship has been occupied by the Shimmerwood clan, a band of goblins, some hobgoblins, bugbears, all of which have figured out how to make a base of this underground structure. Their strong sense of smell and superb tracking skills allow them to find the buried temple much more readily than other groups in the dunes. To make the temple more habitable as a base, the clan has begun cultivating plants within it. The glass temple occasionally resurfaces its pyres, even if only slightly. The light bounces around the structure, gives the plants and visitors what they need. The clan cultivates a number of flora and subcrops, one of them being the very same species whose near extinction sunk the temple to begin with, the Aoife tree. The plant allows the clan to keep track of the temple as they use its unique odor as an indicator. From there, the dune goblins can easily get in using their specialized digging claws, and the other goblins have wargs to help them dig their way inside. The Shimmerwood clan has become quite the Ignelyn devotees, using scraps of fire giant shed and warg bones to give them insight into the ways of the desert. Their resident seer, the dune goblin Tamine, is particularly skilled in the art of channeling Ignelyn into messages about anything from weather prediction, food and resource location, to the births and deaths of clanmates. As a young goblin, she had even divinated her own name. And inexplicably right after that, there was a sandstorm, and a lot of people starved, if only they had a way to know ahead of time. But their seeing skills are sometimes sought out by the fire giants, including the denizens of Skrotkaph. A particularly harrowing message has recently been deciphered from the goblin pile of egg sack scraps, glass shards, and vertebrae, and it is spreading through the people of the desert. The one who walks like man will come from the hills to bring the ways of the desert to the world. The desert folk wonder and wait. Could he bring creativity and resourcefulness? More so than ever before? And that's a little more on the people of the Nalen Sonder. It has been so fun to world build this section of the world as the person who usually does the writing, of course. If you liked what you heard and saw in this one, you're really going to like the other videos on the channel. They're very much the same. As for the poll that chose this video's topic, the other options on the poll are coming up next, so be ready for that. And maybe I'll let Kevin take a break from drawing so he can narrate a video or two. And while I have the mic, I just want to give my gratitude to you, the YouTube community. I cannot even explain how blown away we are every day by how much support and love we have gotten for this world. It is just the two of us. We put our 110% into this project always, and you mean the absolute world to us, so thank you. If you want to be an even bigger part of the community, consider joining our Discord or our Patreon. You get some exclusive stuff. Sometimes we talk about lore that doesn't make it to videos right away, and we just love talking to you guys and watching you talk to each other about world building and about your creative endeavors. I hope you guys like this very normal video. Maybe it'll happen again. Love you much. See you in the next one.